Hello everyone! We're doing something a little different today, again. The review that I was going to do this week has been cancelled. Not cancelled, it's been postponed. I didn't know what I was going to talk about this week, and then yesterday afternoon I had a slight eureka moment, and I thought, I can talk about this. I already know certain things I want to say about this movie, and it'll be great. Except, I really don't feel comfortable about reviewing a movie that I haven't watched at least within the last 30 days, so even though this is something that I've seen a few times and I have stuff in mind to say about it, I really need to see it again so that everything will be fresh and I'll have new things to talk about, new observations to make, and the thing is almost 2 hours long and I just don't have the time right now. So, we'll do it later. I promise it'll come up later, and I know you're probably thinking, well, what movie is it? And I'll tell you, I'll get to that. So as an alternative to that, I thought it would be interesting to take you on a little tour through my DVD collection. Don't get too excited, because my DVD collection is pathetically small. I've got a lot of collections, books, owls, those you've seen, but DVDs have never been one of them. I've seen people give tours of their DVD collections, and they have hundreds, thousands of them, all nicely displayed. I keep mine in a tiny little box, and it's not even full, it's not even all DVDs, and as you'll find, not only is my DVD collection pathetically small, but I also haven't watched a lot of them. So this is going to be a pretty embarrassing video because there are going to be several DVDs that I hold up and say, yeah, I don't know what this is about because I've never seen it. Let's get to it! So here is my DVD box. It is rectangular, it has fruit all over it. I don't really care for the box. There are actually 3 things in this box: cassette tapes, CDs, and DVDs. The CDs are all audiobooks. You've seen them before if you saw my Georgette Hare video. I have Sylvester, and The Convenient Marriage, and Venetia. These are all read by Richard Armitage. Woohoo! These are not the only CDs I have. My CD collection is up there. Up there. But since they're audiobooks, it made sense to me to keep them separate, or maybe I just didn't have any other place to put them, so I stuck them in the box. I've got 6 cassette tapes in here. 3 of them aren't even mine, I just pilfered them. I figure if at a certain point I was the only one who was listening to them over and over and over again, they might as well be mine, right? The first of these is this cassette tape of Scheherazade by Rimsky-Korsakov. This is one of my favorite pieces of classical music ever. Well, I suppose it's more romantic era, but whatever. I love the Russian composers, Tchaikovsky, Rimsky-Korsakov, Borodin, Rachmaninoff. I actually have this on a CD, but 1 recording is good, 2 is better. This is performed by the London Symphony Orchestra. No idea how old this cassette tape is. It still plays, though. Tape number 2 is the cassette version of the original motion picture soundtrack of The Sting. When did that come out? 1972? This features a large dose of the music of Scott Joplin, and I listen to this frequently. I think I actually have a record of it. Not that I have a record player to listen to it on, but let me see here. Whoops. I wasn't planning this. Yep, here it is. I've got a record of The Sting, which I've never listened to. These are all records that I saved from my grandfather's basement. We might as well show you these, too. I've got The Sting. This has Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, and it says it has the Romeo and Juliet Fantasy Overture, which is probably my favorite Tchaikovsky composition. This is a record of Strauss waltzes. This record has the Nutcracker Suite, also by Tchaikovsky. Notice a theme here? And I've got a couple Simon and Garfunkel records, too. These don't really fit in with the theme, do they? Wow, I have 3 Simon and Garfunkel records. I don't think I was supposed to keep these. So that was something I didn't plan to show you. And the third tape in this box is this Glenn Miller tape. I don't know if it still plays because You know, you can only rewind something so many times and then it starts to wear out. I think my favorites were, well, I know my favorite was In the Mood, because who doesn't love that? And also Tuxedo Junction, Chattanooga Choo Choo, and Moonlight Serenade, I think. And then, of the 3 tapes that were actually mine, I had a lot more than this. I would listen to this radio station that played classical music all the time, and I would wait for them to announce what they were going to play. If it was going to be something that I really loved, I would record it. Unfortunately, I had to get rid of a lot of those tapes because the quality had degraded so much you just couldn't listen to them. But I did keep 2 that were concerts that I had taped off of the radio. And the last tape is called Breakfast in Bed, a classical collection of romantic favorites. This was put out by Hallmark when, I don't know if they still do this, they compile music for CDs and tapes. Not the tapes anymore. I got this right before they stopped carrying them. We also had the CD, so I don't know why I had to buy the tape. Seems a little superfluous to me now. And this collection had all sorts of wonderfully angsty and romantic music, including 3 selections from Tchaikovsky. Here's a list of what was on it for anyone who's curious. Okay, on to the DVDs, as advertised. So these first ones are DVDs that I received when I was a kid. I got them for Christmas from one brother or the other. I can't remember anymore. The first one is Ice Age, my first DVD I ever owned all by myself. That was followed by Shrek, which I didn't necessarily love, but I sure quoted a lot. And then a couple years later, I got Shrek 2, which wasn't as good, but I watched it anyway. And I also got Finding Nemo with the special holographic collector's edition. I'm sure there's an even fancier collector's edition that came out after that one. And he gave me Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This is the Johnny Depp version. When my brother and I have talked about this movie, he's told me that if he had seen it beforehand, he wouldn't have given it to me because it's not very good. I didn't hate it. I didn't much like it, though. And the last DVD that I got when I was a kid, which is a really strange change of pace, is this copy of Poirot, Death in the Clouds. This was a full-length feature adaptation of the book by Agatha Christie. There was a period of time there where I was watching this show pretty regularly. There were reruns on TV, and I was reading at least one Agatha Christie book a week. I did lose interest in it, though, toward the end. I guess it was before the end. It was the early 2000s. I don't remember if I asked for this one specifically, or if it just happened to be the new one that year. So those are the DVDs that I got when I was a kid. The rest of the stuff in the box, the remaining 10 DVDs or so, are kind of an eclectic mix, reflecting my varying tastes as I got older. I've got the 25th anniversary concert of Andrew Lloyd Webber's The Phantom of the Opera. I've watched this many times, and I always have to watch the whole thing. I can't just end at the end of the show. I have to wait for after the speeches when John Owen Jones and Anthony Warlow and Colm Wilkinson and who else? Peter Yobach come out and sing, and Sarah Brightman makes a special performance, and Michael Crawford, and it's just a big hoopla, but I'm mainly staying for John Owen Jones and Anthony Warlow. John Owen Jones was one of my favorite Phantoms, not that I ever saw him live, but, bootlegs on the internet. And I have the 25th anniversary concert of Les Miserables. I haven't actually watched this DVD. I have watched the concert. I saw it a couple of times on television. I liked this. It had some really good performances, but I liked the 95 concert cast better, mainly because Colm Wilkinson, Philip Quast, and Michael Ball were in it, and they were all awesome singers. I wish I had that one on DVD, but alas, this is the one I have. And that's fine. This one was fine. Speaking of Les Miserables, I have this is it a 2-disc set? It is not a 2-disc set, it is just one of those things where you flip the DVD, but it is a 2-movie collection of the 1935 version, which has Frederick March as Jean Valjean, and the 1952 version, which stars Michael Rennie as Jean Valjean. I have not watched either one. So that's something I need to fix. I went through a Rudolph Valentino phase, and to cater to that, my mom got me these 3 DVDs, none of which I have watched. I'm sorry, Mom. We'll watch them soon. At least one of them we'll watch soon. The first one is Rudolph Valentino, The Great Lover, a documentary. This is a 2 DVD set. It includes The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. I've seen the tango scene. That's pretty much all you need, right? She also got me this, Valentino, Discovering an Icon of Silent Film. This includes 4 previously unavailable Valentino films: The Young Raja, Stolen Moments, A Society Sensation, and Moran of the Lady Letty. And then the third DVD, I think, is actually something I had asked for. It's Beyond the Rocks, starring Valentino opposite Gloria Swanson. If I remember correctly, this was a lost film, and it was discovered and restored and put on DVD, and I was really excited about that, and so my mom got me the DVD of it, and I never watched it. I'm a terrible person. The remaining movies are movies that I have actually watched, and watched a few times. The first one is the 1973 adaptation of Jane Eyre. My mom has pretty much all the other adaptations of Jane Eyre, but this one is mine. I've talked about it, I've reviewed it, and I'll probably be talking about it again sometime in the not-so-distant future. This and other adaptations. It's a little teaser for my fellow Jane Eyre fans. The next one is a DVD that definitely requires some additional explanation. This is Eric, Portrait of a Living Corpse, Act 1. This is kind of an amateur movie. It was made by film students who are also Phantom fans, or at least the director and star is a Phantom fan. So when I heard about it, and I heard good things about it, namely that it was surprisingly faithful to the original Gaston Leroux novel, I wanted to get my hands on a copy, so I did. It has some rough patches, but it's pretty well made for a student film. The most disappointing thing about it is that it gets to a certain point in the story, a really big point, I believe the unmasking scene, and it ends. And I've been waiting for Act 2 for years now, but I don't think they're going to make it. We're down to the last 2 movies now. The first one is Peter Pan. This is the 2004, I think, adaptation of the J.M. Barrie classic. This is a fun movie, stars Jeremy Sumpter as Peter Pan, but let's be honest, the main reason why I wanted it was because Jason Isaacs' performance as Captain Hook is amazing! He does the dual performance as Mr. Darling and Captain Hook. Isaacs does an awesome job as Hook. He is charismatic and terrifying and attractive in a strange way. And the last DVD is the 1979 adaptation of Dracula, starring Frank Langella. This is the movie that I was going to review today, but I decided I should watch it again and have some fresh thoughts on it, but I will hold off on any further comments until I review it. Not sure when that's going to be, because I already know what next week's video is going to be, and there are some other things that I'm probably going to need to talk about before I can get to this. I would like to do this sooner rather than later. I hope you're looking forward to it. That is my DVD collection. I hope you enjoyed seeing the different movies. I know it's a strange mix, and I hope my tangents didn't go on too long. Thanks for bearing with me. Let me know any thoughts you had on anything that I mentioned, and I will see you again in a few days. Thanks for watching.